Welcome to TaNaCh Talk. I'm your host, William Hall, broadcasting live from Kingsland, Texas, USA, with another episode of TNT. It's so hard to get rid of. We've had that title for so many years. Judaism and Christianity, a contrast. Tonight, Chapter 10, What is a Jew, is where we're at now. Welcome back, Rabbi. It is a pleasure to see you.
Good to be back, always.
Very nice, very nice. So this ought to be a good one. I can only tell you, I've met a lot of Christians who, and I think I mentioned this to you before, who actually thought that Jewish was like in the same neighborhood as Hindu and Muslim and Islam. There was a big mix-up. And so there's going to be some Christians watching this for the first time that didn't really know that the Jewish people were just the ones from TaNaCh, from what they would call the Old Testament. So it's going to be a good thing to really specify the details on what is a Jew. So hand this off to you, our dear Rabbi. Any preface you want to add to this before we get going?
No, not a thing, no.
Okay.
Just merely to say that what is a Jew? A Jew is a nation Jew is a nation defined by the religion. A Jew or the Jews are a nation defined by a religion.
Okay.
Okay, now let me explain all of that, because there's a lot to unpack in that one simple sentence.
Please do, definitely. Yep.
All right, so first of all, people think of the Jews as a race. Okay, Christians and some Jews as well think wrongly that just as one can be like black and Christian, just like you can be Asian and Christian, you can also be Jewish and Christian. And the problem with that is that it assumes that the Jews are a race, that there is and listen carefully to what I'm saying, that there is a specific genetic code, DNA, that makes them what they are. Okay, but there's no genetic code that makes us what we are, and that also needs explanation. Okay, there have been recent discoveries that there's common genetic codes found in Jews only, and they will say, "Oh, see, genetic code," but it's not the genetic code that tells you what you are. The genes, your DNA, tell you about your ancestors. They don't tell you about you. They tell you about your ancestors, not you. Okay? If a person is black, for example, okay, and they convert to Judaism, they're still black, obviously, but they're also a Jew. If a person is Asian and they convert to Judaism, clearly, obviously, they are still Asian, but they are, now that they've converted, also a Jew. Okay? Take a look at the book of Esther, okay? Esther speaks about two people, okay, two categories, shall we say. One are Jews, okay, who are not from the tribe of Judah, and another group, okay, are people who have no background, no DNA, no family background, no inheritance, no whatever, who convert to Judaism and in the biblical text are called Jews. Okay. There's an erroneous idea out there that the word Jew, because we're defining what is a Jew, that the word Jew can only mean those people explicitly and exclusively from the tribe of Judah. Okay, it's not true. Take a look at the book of Esther and go to this Esther chapter 2, verse 5. Okay, Esther chapter 2, verse 5. It says, "Now in Shushan, the palace, there was a certain Jew whose name was Mordechai, excuse me, the son of Yair, the son of Shimei, the son of Kish, from the tribe of Benjamin." So the Bible is clear. You don't have to be from the tribe of Judah to be called a Jew. Similarly, one can convert to Judaism, and through that conversion, they become Jews. So again, all right, take a look at 1 Kings. I'm sorry, wait a minute. I'm sorry, yes. Okay, look at Esther chapter 8, verse 17. Esther chapter 8, verse 17. "And in every province and in every city whithersoever the king's commandment and his decree came, the Jews had joy and gladness, a feast and a good day, and many of the people of the land became Jews, for the fear of the Jews fell upon them. The biblical text in the book of Esther, chapter 8, verse 17, explicitly says they became Jews. That means they were known from this point on as Jews. We can call it conversion, whatever systematic way you went to say it. The biblical passage talks about people whose ancestors, none of whom were Jewish, none of whom were Jews, became Jews, and they are called Jews. So the biblical book of Esther specifically says that a person is a Jew regardless of whether or not they're from the tribe of Judah, and regardless of whether or not their ancestry were Jews, okay, or if they had any DNA in it. What made them a Jew is the conversion to the religion. By the way, we will find out that similarly, if a person is born a Jew and converts to another religion, they're not a Jew anymore. And at this point, there are many people listening will say, oh, no, wait a minute, I thought a Jew born a Jew, you're always a Jew, can't. And I will show you many places in Jewish tradition, halakha, chazal, rabbis of old who don't say that. They say the opposite. Okay, so the Bible is clear. You don't have to be from the tribe of Judah for the Bible to call you a Jew, and you can convert to Judaism and become a Jew. So somehow or another, time of Book of Esther, chapter 8 indicates that there had to have been a systematic way to become a Jew, because they said that many of the people of the land became Jews. Okay, people will say, wrongly so, that, well, the Jews are a culture, an ethnicity. Okay, so which Jewish culture, which Jewish ethnicity does that refer to? Our Western American Ashkenazic viewpoint will think Tevye and Fiddler on the Roof, okay, or any number of the multiple shows on television and in movies that only show, Eastern European Jewishness, okay? But do you think that a Jew from Morocco really understands viscerally the experience of the Jews of a shtetl in Eastern Europe? Do you think the Jews of India, which has their own culture, really, truly, viscerally understands what is being talked about in Fiddler on the Roof, when they don't know what a pogrom is? Okay, it's not. Look, the Bible doesn't say, when God spoke to Abraham, God did not say, I will make you a great culture. When God spoke to Abraham in Genesis, God did not say, I will make you a great ethnic group. Okay, when God spoke to Abraham, God did not say to Abraham, I will make you a great family. What God said to Abraham is, I will make you a great nation. Keep that in mind. It's very important. Okay. As I said, okay, those who convert out of Judaism are no longer Jews, and there is a biblical basis for this. Take a look at 1 Kings chapter 18, verse 21. 1 Kings chapter 18, verse 21. Elijah the prophet is having enormous problems with the Jewish people in his area because they had fallen into idol worship. They were worshiping the idols of Baal. Okay, so what does Elijah say to the people? 1 Kings 18:21. And Elijah came to all the people and said, how long halt you between two opinions? If the Lord is God, follow him, but if Baal, follow him. And the people couldn't answer him with a word. One or the other, not both. You cannot be a Jew and a Christian at the same time, because Judaism and Christianity believe in opposite, mutually exclusive ideas. You cannot say that as a Christian, Jesus died for my sin, and at the same time be a Jew who says, along with Deuteronomy 24:16, every man shall be put to death for his own sin. You can't believe in mutually exclusive opposite ideas at the same time, which you would have to be in order to be both a Christian and a Jew. Again, people will say, but you retain your background. Well, that's only true if it's a race. It's only true if it's a culture. So does that mean that as long as I go into Burger King, let's say, and I have a ham on bagel, sausage and eggs and cheese on a bagel, I'm eating bagel. I'm still recognizing my culture, my ethnicity of bagels, which is only Eastern European, and well, the history is not relevant now. You see, the most important thing to understand is that others don't determine for the Jews who is a Jew. Jews determine and define who is a Jew, not ex-Jews who converted to Christianity, not Christians who are nothing but wannabe Jews, and not Messianic Jews who are Christians in Jewish clothing. Jewish law is clear on the issue, and you got to look at the responsa, the legal decisions made by rabbis over the last 2,000 plus years. Okay, we're reading this paragraph together. Looked it up. Don't believe me. A rabbi in the later Middle Ages named the High Gaon is quoted by Garrett in Responsa 7, number 292, stated a Jew converts out of the faith was no longer a Jew. That belief was shared by numerous rabbis, can be seen in the Responsa literature of Simon ben Zema of Duran, Samuel de Medina, Judah Barab, Jacob Barab, Moses ben Elias Kapsali, and others in the Middle Ages. Moses Israelis demanded a formal conversion back to Judaism for those who converted out of Judaism, but who then wanted to return to Judaism. And by the way, you can't return to something you have not left. In order to return to Judaism and the Jewish people, you have to have left the Jewish people and Judaism in the first place. And he demanded ritual immersion, which is mikveh, and repentance before a court of three, which is a beit din. And these are two out of the three things required for a person when they convert. So he's basically having them convert back. Okay, they may call it any number of things, okay, ritual of return or whatever, but it's not something new. It's what Jews have been doing for a long time. People have been doing for a long time to convert to Judaism. Okay. You can also see it in the responsa literature of Radbaz, Responsa 3, 415, Moses Israelis to Yoreh Deah, 286, 12, and Hoffman Melamed Lehoil, 284. You can also see this very recently in the response of the Satmar Rove in his Divrei Torah, Yoreh Deah, number 59, paragraph 5, as well as in the response of Rabbi Moshe Feinstein, Eben HaEzer, volume 4, number 53. Okay, Maimonides, Middle Ages, or 12th century, 1200s, okay, also wrote that if a Jew converts to Christianity, he or she is no longer a Jew. Maimonides, okay, Hilchot Mamrim, Perek 3, Halacha 1 to 3, and if you take a look, and you can find this on your own online in Maimonides' Mishnah Torah, Avodat Kochavim, chapter 2, paragraph 5. Okay, it's explicitly stated there. All right, let's see. And I have the website right in front of you. You can find this on Chabad.org. Okay. Chapter 2, paragraph 5 reads, a Jew who serves false gods is considered like a Gentile in all regards and is not comparable to a Jew who violated another transgression punishable by being stoned to death. An apostate who worships false gods, that's a clearly shown like when they worship Jesus, is considered to be an apostate with regard to the entire Torah. Similarly, Jewish minim, these are ex-Jews, are not considered to be Jews with regard to any matter. Now, you also have in much more modern writings than Avodat Kochavim, a section of Mishnah Torah, Rabbi Aryeh Kaplan, writing for the Union of Orthodox Jewish Congregations of America, for the National Conference of Synagogue Youth, which is the Orthodox youth group, in his book, The Real Messiah, and in the book, The Real Messiah, it's page 11, but if you look at the Aryeh Kaplan anthology, okay, if you look on the Aryeh Kaplan anthology, page 270, where the book, The Real Messiah, is also found, this brings us back to our original question, what can a Jew lose by embracing Christianity? The answer is everything. Christianity negates the fundamentals of Jewish faith, and one who accepts it rejects the very essence of Judaism, even if he continues to keep all the rituals. It is the same as if he abandoned Judaism completely. The Talmud teaches us whoever accepts idolatry denies the entire Torah. A Jew who accepts Christianity might call himself a Jewish Christian, but he is no longer a Jew. And by the way, Aryeh Kaplan references the Mishnah Torah Avodat Kochavim, chapter 2, paragraph 5, as support for his statement that he is no longer a Jew. He can no longer even be counted as part of a Jewish congregation. Okay? Christians will see ex-Jews who are now Christians still with the tzitzit, still with the beard, still with looking yarmulke, everything, and oh, see, he's still Jewish. Well, Aryeh Kaplan, okay, let's see. Even if he continues to keep all the rituals, it is the same as if he abandoned Judaism completely. Doesn't matter if he keeps the rituals. Doesn't matter if he does everything according to Halakha. Theologically, he has changed to a Christian. He's not a Jew anymore. Now, as I said, and this is very important to understand when we try to understand what is a Jew, okay? A Jew is a nation defined by our religion, okay? Before we get to that, let me talk about something else, okay? Beginning with the late 1300s, 700 years ago, give or take, Spain began forcing the Jews to convert to Christianity. After the experience of these Jews who were forced to convert to Christianity, there was a leniency practiced within Judaism towards these people who wanted to return. Okay? The idea being that if one converted involuntarily out of Judaism, they didn't have to convert back to Judaism because in their heart they never really converted. They appeared to be Christian, but inwardly they never stopped believing in Judaism and the one true God. This assumes that because a conversion was forced, the Jew in his heart really never left the Jewish religion, the Jewish people, the Jewish God. Okay? And remember, this only concerns those who wanted to return to Judaism. It doesn't say anything at all about those who accept the theology of Christianity as their own theology and therefore remain Christian. That's not what's going on today. What's going on today is people are being converted by very concerted efforts of the basically evangelical Christian community to try to convert Jews to Christianity. There's no gun to their head. There's no one saying you got three choices like Spain did in 1492. You'll either fully convert to Catholicism, the only kind of Christianity there was, or you have to leave the country or you'll be dead. Those are the only three choices. That's not what's happening today. Okay? And by the way, it's the fact that they were forced to convert that gave reason to the leniency. We don't have to be stringent, I guess would be we don't have to be machmir. We don't have to be stringent, okay, for people who want to come back. We can be nice to the people who want to come back, but for those people who are not coming back, they're not Jews anymore. All right. Modern Israel has a law called the Law of Return, which deals with this very issue. The law states that because Israel is the Jewish homeland, one who is Jewish and can prove it can come to Israel and immediately become an Israeli citizen as one who is coming home. Now, let me tell you of a couple of incidences in Israeli history. Daniel Rufeisen was born Jewish. He had two Jewish parents, but because of the Nazi persecutions, he fled from his home. Eventually, on his own volition, he chose to convert to Catholicism and eventually became a priest. He was called Father Daniel, and obviously aware of his parents' heritage, once having belonged to a Zionist youth organization and having saved about 100 Jews during the Holocaust, he eventually made his way to Israel and applied to become a citizen of Israel under the Law of Return, which says if you're Jewish and you come to Israel, you can get immediate Israeli citizenship. Israeli Supreme Court denied his application, stating that because he converted out, he wasn't a Jew anymore. and he therefore had to wait the customary time for any other non-Jew to become a naturalized Israeli citizen. Similar to the situation in the United States, where you got to wait a certain amount of years to become a naturalized citizen. Okay. As a Jew, Father Daniel was lost. You could say that that's one more success for the Nazis, that he was fleeing. All right. More recently, this happened to a Messianic Jewish couple called the Beresfords. They immigrated to Israel from South Africa, and they tried to become citizens of Israel under the law of return, using the justification that both their parents were Jewish. Denied on the same basis as Father Daniel. Remember, all of the parents involved, both parents of Daniel Rufeisen and both parents of the Beresfords, both Beresfords, husband and wife, all of them were Jews. And by the way, the person who led the fight against the Beresfords for the Israeli Department of Immigration was an Orthodox rabbi and member of the Orthodox Israeli political party known as Shas. And as an Orthodox rabbi, I think he'd have been well versed in Jewish law on the subject. This rabbi's attitude is held by many Orthodox rabbis today. And I just quoted you Rabbi Aryeh Kaplan and the responsa literature throughout hundreds of years of history. Okay? Now, remember what I said about when God spoke to Abraham. God said to Abraham, I will make you a great nation. Not a culture, not an ethnic group, not a family, but a nation. Every nation has the right to define for itself what is a citizen and how do you become naturalized as a citizen of that nation. All right. By the way, when I say a nation, citizen of a nation, I'm not talking a citizen of a country like the state of Israel, that has borders and passports and all that. I'm kind of talking about a nation in the same sense we understand it in relationship to Native American Indians. For them, we used to call them tribes, but the term nation is actually more accurate, and by and large, they themselves, Native Americans themselves, call themselves nations, not tribes. And for the Jews, the analogy to a nation is perfect because that's what God said. Genesis 12:2, I will make of you a great nation. All right. Now, every nation has the right to create its own laws regarding defining a citizen of their nation, but also defining the process called naturalization. To become a citizen of the Jewish people, the Jewish nation, to become a Jew, the naturalization process is called conversion to the religion of Judaism. The process is actually similar to naturalization to become a citizen of a new country. For example, to become a citizen of the United States, you study the laws, you learn about the country, you learn the customs, you learn the celebrations of the American people, the holidays, okay? You learn about the laws of the country, you learn about the constitution of the country, okay? It's the same thing about when you convert to Judaism. You learn Jewish law, you learn about Israel, you learn the customs and celebrations of Judaism, the faith and the religion of the Jewish people. Okay, by the way, that's another indication why we are a nation defined by a religion, because it's the religious conversion to the religion that makes you a member of the nation. On the other hand, just because a Jew does not practice the religion of Judaism, it doesn't mean that he or she is no longer a citizen, no longer a Jew, until such time as that person converts to another religion. Let me explain this by looking at 4 analogies, okay? Andy. Andy is born in the United States of 2 U.S. citizens, but Andy moves to Australia. There, he remains very involved in every U.S. election. He knows every issue relating to his home city, his home county, his home state, and even on the federal level. He writes his congressional leaders. He has turkey on the 4th Thursday in the month of November. He celebrates July 4th with fireworks in Australia. Even though he's living in Australia, does Andy remain a U.S. citizen? Yes, he remains a U.S. citizen because he's done nothing to give up his citizenship. And right or wrong, thank God for them, there are Jews who actively pursue being Jewish, who affiliate with the Jewish people by joining synagogues, by joining Jewish organizations, who celebrate our holidays, who celebrate our holy days, who celebrate our life cycle events, and all of that. Number 2, Bert. First there was Andy, now there's Bert. Bert is born in the United States of 2 U.S. citizens, but he moves to Belgium. There in Belgium, Bert cannot care less about anything about or from the United States. Hey, as long as Bert has his job, his food, a television set, he's content. Bert cannot remember who was the president of the United States, much less what any issues there might be. He doesn't even realize that the 4th of July comes and goes. Fourth Thursday of November comes and goes. It doesn't mean anything to him. Even though Bert is living in Belgium, even though Bert does absolutely nothing to participate as a U.S. citizen, does not promote democracy, couldn't care less, does Bert remain a U.S. citizen? Yes, he remains a U.S. citizen because he also has done nothing to lose his U.S. citizenship. And similarly, there are Jews who do absolutely nothing Jewishly. They do not affiliate with any synagogue or temple or Jewish organization. They do not keep the commandments. They do not celebrate Jewish holidays or holy days or observe our Sabbath. However, they still are Jews because they've done nothing to convert to another religion and lose their to lose their citizenship, so to speak, in the Jewish people, the Jewish nation. And that brings us to Charlie, number 3. Charlie is born in the United States. Let's say both his parents are U.S. citizens, but Charlie moves to China because he despises the United States and hates everything that the United States stands for. Charlie does everything he can to overthrow the U.S. government. Charlie donates to Al-Qaeda. Charlie puts on sackcloth and ashes, goes into mourning every July 4th. He ignores the 4th Thursday of November, ignores Thanksgiving. Even though Charlie lives in China, even though Charlie works to destroy the United States, does Charlie remain a U.S. citizen? Yes, because working to overthrow the U.S. government does not constitute grounds for losing your citizenship. Those who oppose the United States this way, they're tried in court and go to jail, but they don't lose their citizenship. And, sorry to say, there are Jews whose actions could be and really are detrimental and destructive to Judaism and the Jewish people, but they're still Jews. When does Andy in Australia, Bert in Belgium, or Charlie in China, when do they lose their U.S. citizenship? It's when they're accepting the citizenship of another country, an act that usually renounces one's U.S. citizenship. Now, of course, the United States recognizes dual citizenship in some instances with certain other countries, but Judaism and the Jewish nation does not recognize dual affiliations with other religions. If a Jew accepts another religion, it removes that person from citizenship in the Jewish people, the Jewish nation. A Jew who's accepted the theology of another faith is no longer a Jew according to Jewish law, as we've already talked about. Now let's talk about Danny, number 4. Danny is born in the United States of a father who was a U.S. citizen, but Danny's mother is Dutch. At the age of 17 or 18, I can't remember offhand, Danny has a choice between Dutch and U.S. citizenship. But Danny can't choose Brazilian citizenship because he wasn't born there and because he has no connection to Brazil through his mother or through his father. According to international and United States laws, Danny can obtain the rights for citizenship to countries through either his mother or father. Similarly, according to Jewish law, citizenship rights in the Jewish nation, Jewish peoplehood, only come through the mother, while inheritance rights, which are related to lineage, what tribe you're from, come through the father. An example of this last part might be inheriting property or being a member of a tribe like the tribe of Benjamin or Levi, which comes through your father. If your father was a member of a specific tribe, you're a member of that tribe, not your mother. Mother's descendants obtain citizenship rights through their mother. In the past couple of decades, I'm going to say that the Reform movement of Judaism has accepted the idea of citizenship rights of those Jews whose lineage only comes through their father. But this is done only in cases where the child was raised with very specific and exclusively Jewish ceremonies and affiliations, and that kind of gets lost when people discuss it. If the child has not been raised exclusively in Jewish ceremonies, affiliations, actions, observance, then this will not avail them in the Reform movement. As a Jew, you have been chosen by God to act as God's advertising agent in the world. God needs Jews to be a constant reminder to the rest of the world that God exists. God demands moral and ethical behavior from God's creation. What it means to be Jewish, now that we've understood it, is to have a mission in the world. The mission, as defined by our covenant with God, is to be a light to the nations through our actions, through our invitation to all others to join us in our mission by becoming Jews. Those actions are not merely ethical behavior on our part. They are the commandments that are intended to make us different, to make us holy. Holy means different, set apart, distinct, special, through our observance of them. Okay, if you join any other faith, as Messianic Jews have done by accepting Jesus as their personal Savior and Messiah, you're not a Jew anymore. They're Christians. It also, by the way, includes New Agers. It includes once Jews who are now Buddhists. Okay, they'll say, oh no, Buddhism is a way of life. Yeah, well, Judaism is a way of life. And they've joined a religion that is completely other. It is not Judaism. Okay, to simply deny an element of a faith is very different from joining another faith and being, for example, baptized into it. I'll give you an example. There are Jews, born Jews, who don't believe in God. And God, the belief in God is an incredibly important, integral part of being Jewish. But they have denied an element of the faith by simply becoming atheists. They haven't joined something else. They're not, being baptized into the religion of atheism. Okay, Messianic Jews want to see themselves as still Jewish, even though they now believe exactly the same as the members of the Southern Baptist Convention, Lutheran Church, Missouri Synod, Assemblies of God churches. Go look at their websites of any individual church. It'll say, what do we believe? And then go look on the Southern Baptist Convention, what do we believe? And then go look at a Messianic synagogue, and you'll see they're the same beliefs. Okay? And by the way, that leads us to two questions. Okay? These people who claim to still be Jewish, even though they've been converted to Christianity by becoming Messianic Jews, okay, if they're still Jewish, who funds their churches? If they're still Jewish, why isn't fellow Jews, Jewish organizations intent on making Jews, okay, more Jewish, why aren't they funding these Messianic organizations and Messianic synagogues? Okay, these Messianic organizations and churches, they don't receive funds from the Jewish Federation. They don't receive support, by the, other Jewish organizations. As a matter of fact, these other Jewish organizations usually release statements that condemn these fake Jewish organizations that are intent on proselytizing Jews and turning them into Christians. So many of the Jewish organizations have committees whose purpose is to combat the fake Jewish organizations and Christian missionizing. Another question, okay, Messianic Jews, okay, Jews for Jesus, the product of the organization called Jews for Jesus, members of Messianic synagogues, okay, will claim, oh, they're real Jews. So ask these Messianic Jews if they think that their fellow Jews who do not believe in Jesus are going to hell. And as good Christians, which is what they are, they've chosen a faith that does in fact believe that the Jews who don't accept Jesus are going to hell. So that means that as soon as a person becomes Christian, as soon as they accept Jesus as their personal Savior, Son of God, and Messiah, then they're condemning those who are supposedly in their own group. Real Jews do not condemn other Jews to an eternity of torture in hell for not believing in Jesus. Talk about trying to have your cake and eating it too. It means that the Messianic Jews condemn to hell the very group of which they still claim to be a part. Does that even make sense? It's all ridiculous to claim you can be a Jew and a Christian at the same time. And by the way, knowledgeable Jews who know about their religion, they're not fooled by any of this. Now, I'm pretty sure I covered basically everything there is to cover. You have to understand something. In the ancient world, there were nations that had very specific religions that were specific to that country, to that nation, to that area of the world. Why did Jonah think he could flee from God? Because in that period, they believed that each god had their own domain. their own area of the world that they were in charge of. So if you get out of the domain of God, then God can't hurt you. The whole point of, or one whole point of the book of Jonah is you can't flee from God, because God, the real God, our God, is God of the universe, created it all. Okay? So when Jonah is on the ship, okay, and it's teetering on the brink of destruction because of the storm, what do they ask Jonah? They ask him, what's your nation? Because that determines who your God was. Okay? In the ancient world, the nation you lived in determined the religion you believed in. So if you were in Rome, you might pray to Jupiter. If for whatever reason you moved to Greece, all of a sudden you might be praying to Zeus. Okay? It didn't matter the name you used. The function of the God was what was important. You know, if you wanted love, you either prayed to Aphrodite or you prayed to Venus. Okay? I don't think there were that many, if any, places of worship for Zeus in Rome, and I don't think there were that many places of worship for Jupiter in Greece. You move countries, you change your religion because the nation you lived in determined the religion you believed in, except for the Jews. No matter where we went, okay, no matter what happened to us, no matter where we went, one God, and that's all there is. So instead of the nation you lived in determining the religion you believed in, for the Jews, the religion you believed in determined the nation you were a part of, namely the Jewish nation, the people of Israel. So that's how this all began. A Jew is a member of a nation, and the nation is defined by the religion, because the concept that our religion determines the nation we're a part of is religiously based. It's based on the Bible. God says, I will make you a great nation, not a family, not an ethnic group, not a culture, because being a nation is what we are. I hope that did it.
All right. Sounds like a full wrap. A lot of activity out there tonight. That's good. So let me switch screens, y'all. Bada boom, bada bing. And you came in at 45 minutes or so, 40 minutes or so.
Yeah.
So that's good. That's good. I know last week we had a pretty long show, so that'll help balance it all out, I guess. So,
all right, I hope.
Yeah. So, well, guys, be sure to, if you have any specific questions or specific comments, send them to Rabbi. Why did I put that up? That's silly. To Rabbi Stuart Federow. Now it's on your screen. Rabbi Stuart at hotmail.com. And don't forget about his book, Judaism and Christianity, and
which is
contrast.
what we're talking about.
Yep.
This is all in the book.
And also available in Spanish. That's why I put that up.
It's also, and by the way, go take a look at whatjewsbelieve.org, whatjewsbelieve.org. And if you'd like to learn Hebrew, go to YouTube, and on YouTube, look at Hebrew Jumpstart, or make it easy on yourself, because it's also on TaNaCh Talk, isn't it?
Yes, it is. There's actually a link. If you go to TaNaChTalk.com, you'll see an actual link to the Jumpstart video right at the top. Yep, yeah. And it's also in the YouTube video description area as well. So you can click it there as well. So all full access there for sure. Yes, sir. All right. Well, we're good to go. Well, I guess we'll call that a wrap for tonight then, and give you an early night off for a change. And we'll see you guys same time, same place next week, Hashem willing.
Yeah. Now I'm going to think of all the things I should have said and forgot.
that's okay. We'll add it into the next show, no doubt. And then stay tuned for tomorrow. Tomorrow night we'll have what is tomorrow night? Oh, Sanders on Psalms. That's right. It'll go live at 7 p.m. tomorrow night. So thank you all for tuning in once again, and we'll see you on the other side. Take care, everybody. Thank you.
Hello, my dear friends. Hope this message finds you well. If you like the way this channel is going, and the channel has been a blessing to you, please consider supporting the channel by going to the website, TaNachTalk.com, TaNachTalk.com. Thank you once again for your time and for supporting TaNaCh Talk. Shalom.
חשוב מכל חשוב והכרחי להיות ביחד. איפוק זו העוצמה, ויתור זו הגדולה, השאיפה והכמיהה.